ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بسنا من مرقدنا هذا وما أدرى الرحمن صدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلمون نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا فلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا عليهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسكناهم مكانهم ما استطاعوا موزيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمر نناقش في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما لم نشرع وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحقق قول الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم في منافع مشارب أفلا يشكرون واستغفر من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا نسي خلقه قال من يزعم وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشأها مرة هو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعلكم من شجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بل هو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. And I request the Surah Fatiha for Marhum Jafar Ali Panju. There's Dr. Anju's brother who passed away this morning, and Marhum Naushad Fazal, and all the Marhumins, please.
وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء، وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء، وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء، وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء، وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء، وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس، يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء، اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع متضرع، أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته، وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك، وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك، وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا، ولا لقبائحي ساترا، ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي، وتجرأت بجهلي، وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته، وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته، وكم من عثار وقيته، وكم من مكروه دفعته، وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي، وقصرت بي أعمالي، وقعدت بي أغلالي، وحبسني عن نفعي بعد آمالي، وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها، ونفسي بخيانتها ومطالي. يا سيدي، فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأهوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي، من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي، أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي، ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك، وخالفت بعض أوامرك، فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك، وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك، وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا، مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا، أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري، وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي، يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك، هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته، أو تبعد من أدنيته، أو تشرد من آويته، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك الصادقة وبشكرك مادحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثه، يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أضج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك، فكيف أصبر على فراقك؟ وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم الصادق لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك ورأفتك ورحمتك أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كانت لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته أو إحسان فضلته أو بر نشرته أو رزق بسطته أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره या रब्बी या रब्बी या रब, या रब्बी या रब्बी या रब, या रब्बी या रब्बी या रब, या इलाही व सय्यदी व मौलाई व मालिक रिक्की या मन बियदिही नासियती, या अलीमन बिदुर्री व मस्कनती, या खबीरन बिफक्री व फाकती, या रब्बी या रब्बी या रब, अस्अलुका बिहक्किका व कुद्सिका व अअज़म सिफ़ातिका व अस्माइक अन तजअल औक़ाती मिनल लैल वन नहार बिज़िक्रिका मअमूरा व बिखिदमतिका मौसूला व अअमाली इंदका मक़बूला हत्ता तकून अअमाली व औरादी कुल्लुहा विरदन वाहिदा व हाली फ़ी खिदमतिका सरमदा, या सय्यदी या मन अलैहि मुअव्वली, या मन इलैहि शकौतु अहवाली, या रब्बी या रब्बी या रब, या रब्बी या रब्बी या रब, या रब्बी या रब्बी या रब, क़व्वी अला खिदमतिका जवारिही वशदुद अला अज़ीमति जवानिही वहबली अलजिद्द फ़ी खशियतिका वद्दवाम फ़िल इत्तिसाल बिखिदमतिक हत्ता अस्रह इलैका फ़ी मयादीन अस्साबिक़ीन व उसरिअ इलैका फ़िल मुबादिरीन व अश्ताक़ इला क़ुर्बिका फ़िल मुश्ताक़ीन व अदनुब मिनका दुनुब्बल मुख़लिसीन व अख़ाफ़का मख़ाफ़तल मूक़िनीन व अज्तमिअ फ़ी जवारिका मअल मुअमिनीन। अल्लाहुम्मा वमन अरादनी बिसूइन फ़अरिदह वमन कादनी फ़किदह वजअलनी मिन अहसनि अबीदिका नसीबन इंदक व अक़रबिहिम मंज़िलतन मिनक व अख़स्सिहिम ज़ुल्फ़तन लदैक फ़इन्नहु ला युनालु ज़ालिका इल्ला बिफ़ज़लिक वजुदली बिजूदिका वअतिफ़ अलैया बिमजदिक वहफ़ज़नी बिरहमतिक वजअल लिसानी बिज़िक्रिका लहिजा वक़ल्बी बिहुब्बिका मुतय्यमा वमुन्न अलैया बिहुस्नि इजाबतिक वअक़िलनी असरती वग़फ़िर ज़ल्लती फ़इन्नका क़ज़ैत अला इबादिका बिइबादतिक वअमरतहुम बिदुआइका वज़मनत लहुमुल इजाबा फ़इलैका या रब्बी नसबतु वजही व इलैका या रब्बी मददतु यदी फ़बिइज़्ज़तिका अस्तजिब ली दुआई वबल्लिग़नी मुनाई वला तक़्तअ मिन फ़ज़लिका रजाई वक्फ़िनी शर्रल जिन्नि वल इंसि मिन अअदाई, या सरीअर रिज़ा इग़फ़िर लिमन ला यमलिकु इल्ला दुआ फ़इन्नका फ़अ्वालुल लिमा तशा, या मन इस्मुहु दवाउन व ज़िक्रुहु शिफ़ा व ताअतुहु ग़िना, इरहम मन रअसु मालिहि रजाउ व सिलाहुहुल बुका, या साबिग़न निअम या दाफ़िअन निक़म, या नूरल मुस्तवहिशीन फ़िज़्ज़ुलम, या आलिमन ला युअल्लमु सल्लि अला मुहम्मदिन व आलि मुहम्मद वफ़अल बिमा अंत अहलुहु व सल्लल्लाहु अला रसूलिही वल अइम्मतिल मयामीन मिन आलिही व सल्लम तस्लीमन कसीरा। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद व अज्जिल फ़रजहुम अला अरवाहिल मोमिनीन वल मोमिनात ला सियमा वालिदैना। सूरतुल मुबारकतुल फ़ातिहा मा ज़िक्रि सलवात। Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Can we have a loud salawat on Muhammad and Ali Muhammad? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. I did speak that inshallah we will continue bi-weekly fashion, but then at the end on the day of Jumma, we had a mini meeting saying that let's continue the same topic of mental health. So yeah, I was wondering that maybe we forgot to put it on the message newswire. So we will continue this session. I'm going to go with the khutbah inshallah. But remember that this is the real thing. This is where the Islamic perspective starts. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين وهو خير الناصرين ومعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعترته الطاهرين صلى على محمد أما بعد فقد قال الحكيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقل رب زدني علما. As I have tried to put it there on the corner, that oh Allah, raise me in knowledge. Our topic is the Quran Kareem and mental health. We spoke about an introductory level discussion last week. Before we continue any further, remember that next Thursday is going to be Eid day, inshallah. So we will inshallah see what to do on Eid day. Maybe you're going to have a free day in the evening. So the lists of content is emotional well-being, and then causes and symptoms of emotional illness. Remember, the definition of mental health had three parts: emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So we are speaking about emotional well-being today, less or more. Why it happens, and then treatments of emotional illness, then the Quranic principles of mental health. We want to speak about principles today. And this is like our concern, our relevance is how Quran gives us principles which help further to heal our mental health issues and any disorders. And this is a hard part, tough one. I've tried to make it as simple as I can. Please, Ahmed bhai, have a seat here. Mahdi, you can have a seat there. Yeah, Ali. And then some strategies of curing mental health from Quran Kareem. So let's start. Emotional wellness is the ability to successfully handle life's stresses and adapt to change and difficult times. NIH, National Institute of Health of Canada. This is their definition of emotional well-being. I will beg your attention, please pay attention to these keywords: ability. It is ability to successfully cope life's stresses. How to maintain those, how to handle those, how to confront them. When some adversity may arise, which is a package deal in our life, in human's life, how to react, how to make our move, what to do basically. This is very important to put in our mind. And then adapt to the change. Whatever transpired, whatever which was other than the previous day, how can I adapt to it? It could be anything: a challenge, a test, a trial, an adversity, God forbid, an illness, an accident, anything. A human's ability to adapt to that new situation is the next keyword. And difficult times, This is maybe a repetition of the same word, and adversity is also a difficult time. But anyways, this is their wording. Or I've chosen 3 main websites. So I'm not going to mention all of the references. They are APA, Association of Psychiatrists of America, NIH, and Canada's Mental Health, CMH, whatever. They will come, inshallah. So you can, alhamdulillah, find this information yourself too. I've summarized some of the materials because they are in detail, lots of information. So emotional well-being is the ability, remember again, upper definition also said ability, this one also says it's an ability to produce positive emotions, moods, thoughts, and feelings. It's exactly the previous definition, it just opens it up, puts more words. Emotions, feelings, thoughts, our moods. Well, our emotions are within our mood, and our thoughts are also, more generic than mood. So thought could be the key word to just surface all these things, or just emotions. And adapt when confronted with adversity and stressful situations. Right? So in brief, we can easily conclude that emotional well-being is the ability of a human being to simply adapt to new changes or challenges of his life and act smartly, act accordingly. All right. Any questions in this part? It's so simple, easy to understand. But they are our building block. Based on this information, we are going to start, investigating Quranic ayat and investigate how Quran has exactly said the same thing, but in a more amicable way, in a more comprehensive way, and at the same time in an educational way, especially when there was no mental health issue recognized as an illness. People will laugh and stuff, but still, you go back India, Pakistan, many people, you say you have some mental, instead of taking them, astaghfirullah, let's face the reality. I try to be as realistic as I can. I don't bring stuff which does not relate to us. Nowadays, people, they need something which is real, which matters to them, which they have to go through every day. So I bring our realistic examples. People will laugh at you. Honestly, I've seen people laughing at people. That, you're not sick. They say, you need, tumhe pagal khane le jana chahiye. This is how they will humiliate sometimes. This is lack of education, lack of understanding, and the rest. Just few definitions of some keywords. Sometimes I thought maybe they are a little, ambiguous. Stress. What is stress? As per the World Health Organization, they define stress as a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. This is stress. Okay? And then what is anxiety? Anxiety is an emotion. Look, the key word I'm after is emotion. Just bear that in your mind. He will get it, Amir bhai. He'll get himself. He's young, mashallah. Anxiety is an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts. जिसको हम कह सकते हैं ख्यालात परेशान, worried thoughts, and physical changes like increased blood pressure. So this not only involves something to do with emotions and notions and theory, it also points towards some physical symptoms like increased blood pressure, and you will see like diarrhea, headache, turning stomach. These are the different symptoms of anxiety. Especially a daily life example is which one? When you have your test next day, right? You feel something, right? I meant Hassan. Distress is a feeling of extreme worry, sadness, or pain. So it's about our mood, more or less. See, thoughts, feelings, extreme worry, sadness, sorrow, or pain. Distress occurs when stress is severe. So stress is basically included in distress, if we can see. This is from, again, National Institute of Health. Any questions, thoughts, ideas? Please take a look, bear them in your mind, because afterwards from ayat, when I'm going to mention some points, so you can relate that why I have chosen this, it should be mentioned and learned. Causes of emotional illness. Why emotional disorders happen? What causes them? Remember, in every branch of knowledge, the first question is the cause. Because when I know the root, so instead of going after the leaves and branches, cut the root off. So the evil will dry out from the above. Childhood abuse, trauma, or neglect. And these are the broadest terms. They have lots of details under them. We know neglect could be of many types. Let me give you an example. In family, how can someone face this cause of emotional distress? Neglect. How can they be neglected? Let's say among siblings. Normally, they are victimized by parents. Sadly, parents among multiple siblings, they will, show more love and affection for one and less for the other. This will leave them with a bit complex that will grow into trauma. And that will grow further into some emotional disorder. And the emotional well-being will be disturbed. So let's say childhood abuse, we all know. Let's say, simply put, fighting parents, arguing parents, yelling at one another. In a tender mind of a baby, always watching their parents, fighting, arguing. That has a very severe negative impact on a baby's mind. Those brains, they never grow completely. They never build self-confidence. They're always scared of the unseen, of the unexpected. So that, puts a huge obstacle in path of their growth. So they won't go extraordinary, intelligent in life. Because they will feel scared. They will get scared of themselves, of their thoughts. Am I doing right? Am I thinking okay? Can I object so and so part? I disagree with him. I think there's something wrong inside their mind, but they don't dare to object. They don't dare to express their views because of this childhood abuse trauma, which has somewhere in back of their head. They may realize it and they may not. This will be addressed by the psychologist. When people express their issues, the psychologist will, derive from their details they provide that this person was abused while he was in his or her childhood, and then they will go for the therapy, whichever appropriate they diagnose and see. I think this is all we know, and this is maybe one of the severest. Anywhere in the world we go, infidelity, throughout the human history, this has, till end of time effects. No one can erase this from their memory. Doesn't matter what antidepressants they take. Any prescription drug, remember, psychiatrists, they used to prescribe drugs. Psychologists will give talk therapy. Doesn't matter whom you go to. Now the billah, not to be, astaghfirullah, arrogant. Even Rasulullah cannot efface this from many of his minds. He may do dua, he may bring you peace of mind and solace. But if somebody has been a victim of infidelity from their spouse, let's say, how can they forget it? They can never forget it. So this has very severe impact on their emotions, and that consequently grows to emotional disorders. And the result is where? In one word, suicide for most of the people. Most of the people, especially in the Western world, or the other way, God forbid, they will think of killing the other person. So this is very weird. People sometime, there was back in history, they never used to take it seriously. But God forbid if somebody who had to go through this, their spouse, they went or they did this to them, they had everlasting effects. For this one, there are many articles. Even if you look at the National Institute of Health or just simply Google emotional well-being or causes of emotional well-being. These are the generic titles I have taken from these websites. All of this information is on the website, on the internet. Remember, I always mention that internet is a double-edged sword, like a knife in the kitchen. A sharper knife can help me, prepare my food faster and cut my vegetables better. Same knife, if not used accordingly, can kill somebody. Internet is likewise. It has so much amazing, wonderful educational side of it, aspect of it. And same time, it can cause you waste a lot of time or something which is useless for player time. So I guess if whoever uses it accordingly makes the best benefit of it, because maybe it'll take me a month to get an appointment of one of these experts and speak with him and get my answers. While in the internet, you can Google your questions, and many times, especially for the, let's say, technology, for medical science, for these type of issues, religion is a little different story, because there's less material provided on the internet so far, though texts are there, but their explanations, their meaning, what do they relate to, they have to come, I guess. But let's say medical science, I guess any issue, any tablet you want to Google that, what does this tablet do, why doctors prescribe this tablet, you will find this information. So please sometimes dedicate even 10 minutes per day to learn something new, learn something beneficial, learn something which relates to you. Or sometimes you want to laugh at me, laugh. I sometimes go how to make cookies, how they make Coke, how they make I just keep on watching them. You know why? To remove my stress of my studies and to get something new and change my, my thoughts and this and that. Please have a salawat. I learned the recipe of gulab jamuns online, which I made in Ramadan.
We're waiting for it now.
Now I'm under pressure. Inshallah, try to bring them soon. If we have free day in the evening on Eid, maybe I'll bring. Instead of preparing my lecture, I'll make gulab jamun. Let's have another salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Social isolation and loneliness, another killer. We are social human beings. I like to say social animals. Mantiq says we are social animals. We are haywan and natiq. We are given intellect, otherwise we are haywan like other animals. So we cannot be by ourselves. If you put a person who is best, complete, perfect health, you put him in a cell, for how long you think a person can be normal in isolation? Let's make it interactive. What are your thoughts? A normal person, yes, who is not, a complete mu'min in such a way, because I just want to put in your mind, Imam Sajjad says, if I am left alone in this world and qurwal Qur'anu ma'i, I won't feel any loneliness if I'm left with Qur'an. So Qur'an is something different and Imam is something different. Of course, it depends from person to person. Somebody was trying to answer on that side. If a person put in a cell or isolated, in isolation, how long they will start developing some delusions and some, I don't know, zombie thoughts in our today's language? Yes? 1 month? Almost there. Almost there. Our youngest participant, I guess, he said 1 month. Yes, people are a little different. One may take 1 month, the other one will take maybe 2 weeks. Yes?
The moment they start realizing that there's no escape from this.
ahsant, the moment they have this feeling that, you know what, I'm by myself and there's no way out of this, that is the moment they lose their mind. They collapse. Our thoughts, they collapse. You know why? Because our thoughts, they work with our senses. This is another science, maybe some other day. Remember, I interact with you. Look, my tongue is communicating, let's say, putting words right towards you. My eyes are seeing you. My ears listen to you when you talk. Meaning, if these senses are covered, blocked, so I have no way of communicating with you and connecting with you, right? I may be able to connect with myself, my thoughts, whatever is in my head. That's why maybe Imam said, if Quran is with me, I'm okay. Now the life, let's say more life, we were alive. How about if Quran is not with you? Maybe Imam is trying to tell us that inni tarikun fikum wathaqalain, you can never depart Quran from us. We're always going to be together. And the best proof I always mention in one word is the recitation of Quran of the holy head of Imam Hussain alayhi salam on spear. नेज़े पर कुरान पढ़ना, उनके लिए एक सलवात पढ़ दीजिए. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Experiencing discrimination and stigma, including racism. These are just a couple of examples to connect better. Otherwise, discrimination itself is very, detrimental for human emotional health. We cannot take, if there's a line of 10 people, if they simply tell you to go to the end of the line, you were, let's say, second or first because of your color, that will break you. You cannot stand that. And if it is repeated, let's say, you are in such an area or a place where, God forbid, for, let's say, your religion or based on your color, your race, your language, whatever, you are a victim of it, that has everlasting, effects on a human social emotional well-being. Social disadvantages. We know that deprivement, how it relates to our emotions, because deprivement, having not something, miskanat, will make somebody, lose their trust even. There's something in a hadith which means that al-faqru nisful kufr. To be poor is almost half of faithlessness, disbelief. Because the first thing shaitan will put, yuwaswisu ala nafsihi, that, oh, look, Allah has left you alone. And they not only do to normal people, they did even to Rasulullah. Surah Duha is about this, that your Allah has, left you alone. He doesn't like you anymore. These kuffar, I don't know, they don't sit in rest. Mu'minin, normally you will see they're busy with their namaz, their Quran, helping, supporting their family. But you will see shaitan and his associates, they're always busy planning, doing something to harm others. I wonder why. For free. Yeah, Ali. Poverty and debt. Because it is in that list, I took it, otherwise it's, I guess, inclusive in social disadvantages. Substance abuse and alcohol. How can substance abuse, harm someone's emotional well-being? I need your help. This is the last one in causes.
They've lost their senses when they're using it.
First thing, remember, our first and foremost tool is our intellect, our senses. Right? Remember the ability, Sant Muhammad, by ability. If ability is taken away, then that person is no use, no good. Right? And in Shari Muqaddas, just to connect your mind quickly, the first condition is istita'at. There's no salah for me if I don't have ability to offer salah. There's no fasting for me if there's no ability within me, if I don't have istita'at to fast. And the manifestation is seen where? In Hajj. Allah says, Lillahi ala nasi hajjul bayt man istata'a ilayhi sabila. Who has istita'at, ability, financial ability here. And physical ability, maybe if you can somehow make it up there. Let's say you can't walk, they may help you in the dolly to walk, but financially you have to be able to go yourself for Hajj. So this is how, look how they're interrelated. And most of the times they interplay with one another. If one occurs, then the other one. I mean, they work in a kind of, what you call mechanism. Symptoms, how to recognize, how to know. So let's go and see some of the signs or symptoms of a deep sorrow, sadness, or depression, because they are grief, intense distress, loneliness. How come loneliness was also among causes and among symptoms? What does it mean in symptoms, loneliness? What is the difference? A physical sign is the person doesn't want to see anybody. Symptom. They don't want to have, you might have noticed somebody, sometimes, some people, they're so that they don't want to talk to anyone. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to come out of their house. And especially sometimes that is seen among some kids. They don't want to come out of their bed, let's say. They don't want to come for the breakfast. They don't want to come for the lunch or dinner, whatever. They want to be like somewhere hidden by themselves. On that under stair cage, sometimes they make in the older houses, or sometimes or koi khelne wale drums mein, whatever they call them. They want to be like alone. This is what it means. And the difference is that this is a symptom of that cause, which caused this to happen. Panic, rage, anger. We all know this, that when someone's emotions are hurt, they will somehow remember the definition, how to react, how to confront. They will lose. So they will show it in their anger. They will act in a form of rage, especially, let's say, could be in any form, but let's say most noticeable is road rage. Some people are so short at their patience, we say, shari, but they have emotional issues. You overtake them, they will try to race with you. And sometimes they will, get ready to astaghfirullah, fight with you. Shame. Self-explanatory. It's known. And this is very generic and a very dangerous phenomenon. Because why is it dangerous? Normally ignored. People think, oh, it's nothing, Sharmila hai zara masalan. No, that kid has some other issue. Sharm, that shame, is a symptom. The root could be somewhere else. Cause is something else. Shame itself is not a reason. Rather, shame is an admired thing in religion. Shame of doing something which is, a prohibition of God. That is sign of awliya of Allah. Astaghfirullah, I will feel embarrassed to do something which is haram. I don't want to backbite, I feel embarrassed. Astaghfirullah, I don't want to defame somebody, I feel embarrassed. Astaghfirullah, I don't want to commit adultery, I feel embarrassed. I don't want to do that, that is really bad. How can I face Imam Hussain? What is he going to say to me if he says, oh, you were not only, my Shia, my lover, you were the Imam of Jamaat of some people. How can I see this feeling of shame? This is what it means. But the shame here, symptom, is different. How is it different from this one which I just mentioned, the religious shame, if I can say? जो हमें दीन में शर्मिंदगी होती है बुरे काम करने से, this is different from that. This shame is almost regret. They have done something in life that they are ashamed of. So look how they're there's a thin line, a very fine line between these meanings. If misunderstood, that's why the psychologist is the expert in talk therapy. They will make the person, talk, and then they will take their notes. And within whatever they have the questions and information written down, they will diagnose the issue and prescribe whatever they want to go for the therapy. This is how they are connected. Worthlessness. Worthlessness is it a dangerous one, a medium one, or easy one? How is it dangerous?
The person feels like he's worth nothing.
And number one, he will think of killing himself or herself, or it will turn into worst. They will turn into a monster. Because they're emotionally disturbed, they will bring harm and adversity to others, and that could be, God forbid, in any form. So this is not something like, like easy. No, this is maybe one of the worst. Worthlessness, the feeling of being worthless. Emotional pain can also be accompanied by, this is behavioral. I just want to let you know. The previous one, they are just symptoms. They're general. But next one I chose because they are the action, the consequences. This is what will happen. So this is just to embody and reinforce our learning. Aggression and violence. For the previous said things, person will become aggressive. He will become violent. He could be a combination of, let's say, he was also abused, plus he also feels worthless, plus he's also ashamed. And now he's aggressive and now he's violent. I hope you're getting the connection. See, how are they interrelated? See if we can understand the connection between them. That will help us understand the Quranic usul much better. Alcohol and substance use, we talked about it. Compulsive behaviors including shopping, gambling, and sex addiction. Eating and sleeping disorders. And I just took these two. There's a list of what other physical disorders will happen to somebody going through emotional disorders. Risky behaviors for self, for family, anybody around them, not for the person only. Lowered self-esteem. Lowered self-esteem is that person will start talking anything. Astaghfirullah, not a good word I like, but loose cannon. They won't care what they say. The word in Sharia for this is tahawwur. जिसको हम उर्दू में कहते हैं बेबाकी से बातें करता है. They speak bluntly, We are not supposed to be that way. We are supposed to be polite. We're supposed to differentiate the person I'm speaking to. Who is he? My father, I speak in a different tone. My mother, I speak in a different fashion. My friend may be a bit older than I am, a bit more polite and respectful. Equal to me, a bit frank, casual. Somebody who's a kid, I gotta be compassionate and kind. See, so this is what it is, and it goes a long way. Thoughts of self-harm and attempted suicide. If I'm not wrong, about 37% of people going through this trauma, they commit multiple times they try to commit suicide. Remember in the previous session we mentioned, women, they have more attempts but less success. Men, they're more successful in this attempt as per the statistics. Please refer to the internet, simply Google it. It's important because, of course, I will leave it for you just to read in a minute or so. This is maybe the summary of so far learned material. Please prepare your questions. So this is how it's important and we care. Why it should be cured. Now the treatments. The treatments, as you can see, involve addressing the underlying source of the symptoms. Why this person is, going through or suffering through this emotional distress or this emotional disorder. They will see the reason first, and then they will try to treat it and bring a cure and healing for whatever the issue may be. So treatment offered depends upon the individual diagnosis and may be treated by psychotherapy or medication, which is psychiatry, or a combination of two. Psychotherapy to treat emotional may involve the use of talk therapy, including specific approaches such as cognitive behavioral therapy. I will please request to put this one in your mind, the next page. Cognitive behavioral therapy was, remember, this was based on concept that your thoughts, feelings, physical sensation, and actions are interconnected, and that negative thoughts and feelings can trap you in a negative cycle. This was cognitive behavioral therapy, right? Cognitive, marifati, behavioral, our actions, how we behave, how we react, and in emotional well-being definition, how we confront these thoughts and emotions and stress and everything we are going through, right? So cognitive behavioral therapy, the therapist will simply make the patient realize their strong points, their weak points, and then they will, suggest some other therapy, which I have put there in the slide. So basically a rephrase of it, CBT focuses on identifying those negative thoughts and emotions and contribute to emotional pain, then breaking them down into smaller parts. Pay attention to this one. Cognitive behavioral therapy will help them break down of, if I can say, those multiple emotions and sorrows and sadness and sufferings and stresses and distresses the person may be going through, and then replacing those thoughts with more positive, adaptive, realistic thoughts and behaviors. So there are two things, not only thoughts, they're also behavior related. They want to change them in the way they react and confront and behave. So let's say a person who is aggressive, let's say, being diagnosed as he becomes aggressive and he has this trauma, let's say, inflicted on him. So the therapist will speak with them, hey, listen, you already have to realize I'm weak at, let's say, if somebody speaks about my favorite, I don't know, cricketer. So you don't need to mind them, right, Jabir? If somebody, let's say, criticizes Babar Azam, don't take it serious. What is, who follows the basketball here? Who is your favorite player? Yeah, so if somebody is speaking negative of him, be patient. I mean, it's their opinion. You agree to disagree, right? This is how a psychologist will teach them the CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Just a bridge to our next discussion. This is our brain. Thoughts are produced in our brain, could be by itself, could be by looking at something, listening to something, reading something, whatever. So they're thoughts. Those thoughts are simply, remember, they fire neurons. We have billions of neurons in our body. They cause the firing of neurons. Neurons further produce chemicals. They could be enzymes. They could be many, about, I guess, 2,000 different types of it. Please Google it. And don't hold me responsible if I make a slight mistake, because my half-life is, a bit old now. Those chemicals could be productive, could be destructive. Remember when we see our phone, especially kids need physical activity. When they watch phone, they produce adrenaline maybe like 200 times more in 1 minute than about an hour of activity. Remember I brought you one day that statistic somewhere. I don't remember exactly, but watching a phone for 1 minute is heavier than an hour of activity in a field for a kid. And the destructive part is those enzymes, they just stay in their body. They're released, but they don't go anywhere. They stay in their body because physically they are not doing anything. But when a kid is running in a field, they're burning these chemicals. This is the simplest form of saying this. Otherwise, there are lots of other functions going around. Those chemicals cause our emotions change their way. If you can think of a wave, they will change their emotion, the chemicals. So if, let's say, you give too much chocolate to a kid Who can tell me normally, parents, what will a kid do? They become hyper, right? Too much sugar. That is working on their emotions, that chemical. So sugar is a chemical, right? It will affect their emotions. They will show where? In their passion. They want to run, they want to jump. And that is what we call our behavior. Oh, not back, go ahead. Behavior. So this is like a rough synopsis of what goes in our mind and body inside us. Yeah, Ali. Medications may sometimes be prescribed. So as we all know, why are you not moving? Antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. These are just names. My intention is there's either a medication, and we all know how medication works. God forbid, if a person was a victim of, let's say, infidelity, their spouse, they committed zina, they were divorced, but this will stay in this person's heart. Now, taking Tylenol, will that help? Tylenol maybe is going to affect for 6 hours, 4 hours, depending upon the body chemistry of the person, or may not have no effect. Many of us, we take Tylenol while we are tired or we have headache, but it doesn't help any, right? So this is how medication plays a role in there. I am not against taking medications. First of all, I'm not even a psychiatrist, but this is how it is, that this has to do with our emotions. We're going to need to change our thoughts. So we need cognitive therapy. Behavioral, later. But first, we need to change our thoughts. Someone is to advise us in such a way that our thinking, our feelings, they change. Quran does this. This is what is the purpose. Our way to manage emotionals, they say the social support, talking to someone, psychiatrist, not a psychologist. Their first tool is get socialized. Now this is our putting it into practice. How do we put this one in practice here? See, we are socializing. Best of the barakah of majlis is that we have the chance to socialize, to speak with one another, to see one, not necessarily you need to talk, just looking at you and you just seeing me here. That gives us human beings an extraordinary and undescribable emotional boost. See, we feel happy. Oh, mashallah, good to see you. Remember? And that sometimes it removes our week-long stress and whatever we did and we were exhausted, that exhaustion, it was gone just by seeing you. And then we listen to the, let's say, a qasida of Mullah Ali. You know what does that do? Firing of billions of neurons in our body. And that produces productive, positive chemical in our body. And that brings, look, automatically passion and love and feel of comfort and tranquility. Mullah Ali ka dhikr sun ke. Ya Quran Kareem, this is what Quran says, Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. See, you will get peace of mind, inner peace. Look, somebody who has inner peace, they don't need any antidepressant. And of course, I don't mean to say again, I have to warn you, I'm not against medication. Sometimes we do need medication. Plus, we also need cognitive therapy, talk therapy. Quran will talk to us in this way and change our mind, change our thoughts, replace our negative thoughts with positive thoughts, which will lead to what? Positive behavior. Productive behavior. Instead of feeling astaghfirullah, let's say if somebody was feeling low at self-esteem, when they will read Quran, laqad karramna bani adama, we have honored the children of Adam and Allah has given us higher status and rank than angels. See how much self-esteem will be raised and morale will go high when we recite these type of ayat and hadith. One day, let me give you a story. Our time is about up, 43 minutes. I will leave inshallah time for your questions after this beautiful story. One day, look, Rasulullah was very hakim, wise. perfect. He used to do things like with the substantial evidence. He will use things around him and people and make them connect to deeper meaning. He was doing tawaf. After tawaf, he stood and he's just looking at the holy Kaaba like this and enjoying its ibadah. An-nadharu ila al-Ka'bati ibad. People also, out of respect, they stood behind him, beside him, and everybody has, gathered around him and circled him, and they're watching Rasulullah. Now Rasulullah realizes, I have brought their attention. Everybody has gathered their wits and thoughts and emotions. They're with me. He turns towards them. He says, O Kaaba, you have lots of respect. But, O believers, the honor, namus of a mu'min is more than holy Kaaba. Are you paying attention? How much will the self-esteem grow when we know that holy Kaaba, towards which I offer my prayer, in which has so much thawab. Everybody goes and, kisses it and takes it as an honor to kiss the holy Kaaba. When they will know that, okay, this brother has more honor than Kaaba. So that means I'm supposed to venerate him or my sister like holy Kaaba. More than that. So will I ever think to backbite this moment? Okay, yeah, he was doing so and so. Look, cognitive therapy. How Quran and Rasulullah, which is a very first principle of Quran, who is our usul. Everything in our religion is Rasulullah. I mean, the Imam or Rasul is the usul, which gave us the rest of the usul. Yes, our first usul is Tawheed. But remember, Tawheed we know through Rasulullah. This doesn't mean Rasulullah is above God. La ilaha illallah. You know my point. He's the physical contact. Through him we connect with God. So look, he says that this is how much is your honor. So look, all those areas of discrimination and all those areas of trauma or childhood abuse or lowered self-esteem or feeling worthless, they will all be wiped off, effaced, and replaced with this new norm that, hey, listen, O human, O mu'min, this is how much your worth is. Or ahadith like Mawla Ali says, qimatu al-mu'mine al-jannah, fala tabi'uha dunaha, qimatu nafs al-mu'mine. The price of your nafs is paradise. Don't sell it less than that. What a beautiful word. जब मैं ये सुनता हूँ मुझे वजद आता है. जो जन्नत का मालिक है उसको पता है कि तुम्हारी कीमत क्या है. जहाँ के तुम हो, you belong there. You are here for a temporary transit. This is just a transitory. You don't belong here. We don't belong here. Imam says you belong there. And that is where your gem of that, let's say, crown. Jannat agar taj hai to wahan ke moti ho. Don't sell yourself less than that. Meaning, don't go for the lowly desires and astaghfirullah, all these prohibitions in this life. I will stop here now, and if you have your questions, let's take them, please. Yeah, remember, this is cognitive therapy. Today, inshallah, we went for maybe a little bit too much details, but I hope this was really important to understand and realize the way we are wrapping it up. Next week, we are going to go through the usul. Many of the usul, this we will come back to this, inshallah. These are from the psychotherapy. But this is the Quranic side. Whatever Allah reveals in the Quran, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ الشِّفَاء. What is a cure, a healing for believers. And what else? It's a rahmah, it's kindness, it's mercy of Allah. We will inshallah discuss it in details. Ta'allamul Qur'ana, beautiful hadith. Tabibun dawarun bitibbih. I had promised to bring the description of Rasulullah in the words of Imam Ali. We will go through this inshallah. We will leave some time for our refreshments. But if you have any questions, please go ahead. Could I deliver that connection between psychotherapy, cognitive therapy to our cognitive therapy of Quran and Ahadith? Was the connection easy to connect? Santam. So let's finish with the dua of Imam Zaman. Any of you want to recite the dua of Imam? Let's recite together. Hassanin, Abbas, where did he go? Raja.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كل وليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك طوى وتمتعه فيها دويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد
وآل محمد.